When was he prioritizing KK? When did that happen? Hi, my name is Lacey, and welcome to my recaps of episodes 20 and 21 of Love Island US, summer 2023. And things are heating up. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I'm trying to reach 100 subscribers by the end of the year, and I appreciate your support so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Mwah! All right, so the girls are getting to know the Casa boys. Cassie's talking to Rob, the snake catcher. He's talking about being in the moment, trying not to focus on Leo, and trying to be here. And she's just like, wow, you have awkward conversation, because it is kind of awkward. It sounds much more eloquent once you have it written down and you speak it. There's a filter, but him, no filter, and it's awkward. But hey, Destiny is smitten with Zay. She's shocked that he's only 23 because he's so mature, and they talk about family and not wanting divorce. They want to be with their one person forever. She says that love is sometimes a choice, and you have to choose to stick it out and love that person, and he agrees with her. KK tries talking to Eddie, and he says that she has a light around her, and they talk about travel and that he's done with games. So he's kind of like, hey, I won't fuck around on you. I'm not here for games. Hello. Anybody home? Rob shoots his shot with Carmen. And then he picks up a toad. There's a toad, and she kind of freaks out. I think she's being kind of a little baby about it, but he's also kind of like leaning into it hard and trying to get a rise out of her, and he does. Imani is hitting it off with Kyle. They just say that they have very similar humor. Cassie is into older Mattia. They talk about their tattoos because he has a ton of them, and she likes older, and she says, well, you know, Leo's kind of immature and I like older, and she's worried about what Leo's going to be doing on the other side. The bed situation. We have Carmen and Rob are sleeping in the same bed. However, they're sleeping with a pillow barrier. Imani is sleeping with Kyle. Destiny's sleeping with Zay. Cassie's sleeping with Mattia. Kay is with Eddie. And Hannah is with Brandon. At the villa, the boys are missing the girls, and they go to sleep alone. In the morning, Destiny is saying she's vibing with Zay because she says he's handsome. He says he's more into listening than talking, and she's into talking. And so it's like, I guess they're vibing. I don't really see a connection. Imani talks to Rob because she thinks he's cute, and there's like this weird tension, and he's like, what's happening? And she's like, just kiss me. And he's like, okay. And so they kiss, and it's in front of everybody, and everybody's like, the fuck is just happening? Okay. The new girls finally arrive to the villa, and we have, I didn't get any of their jobs. Oh no, I got one person's job because they didn't really talk too much about their jobs. So I got Taylor C. She's 23 from San Diego. Naja, she's 5'1", 25 from Maryland, and she is close in proximity to where Leo lives. Ashley is from Kansas. I don't get very much on her. Allie is 28 from Wisconsin. She says she's an all-American girl. We have Taylor S. She's 25, also from Texas, and she is into Bergie. We have Daja. She's 28 from North Carolina. And lastly, we have Johnny. She's from Arizona. She's an office manager who makes rugs and paints. Those are the new girls, and they introduce themselves to the boys, and the boys are drooling and ogling all of the display. Naja makes a play for Keenan. She's a quiet observer, but says that she is very interested in Keenan, and he also is interested in her. And this is honestly the most giggly and happy I've seen Keenan. So it's like, okay, why don't you, okay, well, Rob tells Carmen he's trying to steal her despite her being a slow burn and being mostly closed off with Kenzo. There is a game of truth or dare over at Casa Amor with the girls, the OG girls, and the Casa boys. Eddie has to do a three-way kiss, and he has it with Destiny and KK. And again, it's the same thing as Destiny before. She doesn't want to do the three-way kiss, so she just does the one-on-one kiss, and then the third girl is like, okay, and then it's done. So that's what KK ended up doing for this one as well. Destiny's truth was something like, who do you think is the most open to getting to know somebody else? And she says Leo. Rob has to do his favorite sex position with his number one choice, and so he does standing up against a wall with Carmen. It's kind of hot. Cassie has to Spider-Man kiss the two boys of her choice and then compare the two. So she upside down kisses Mattia and then upside down kisses Rob. And she likes Mattia's kiss more than Rob's kiss. Imani had to suck the nipples of the guy of her choice. So she sucked Kyle's nipples and she was like, I'm not into it, but okay. KK had to kiss the person who would most likely turn her head, and she kissed Brandon, and it was a big ol' smooch. We're rooting for you, KK. Back at the villa, Mike is talking to Daja, saying that he's open to her and that they're both into fitness. And Bergie and Allie are talking in soul ties, sexy soul ties, and he's saying that he's grown through this competition. He's ready for a relationship. And she has no expectations, but she's ready for babies soon. And I feel like production was really pushing this hard with the music and the slow-mo and they were talking for a long time about nothing in particular. And I was like, they looked like mother and son sitting next to each other. And here we are at episode 21. So we are still at Casa Amor with Rob and Cassie. Cassie's telling Rob that she's into both him and Mattia, and then accidentally on purpose, calls Leo her ex. Telling! She tries to backtrack, but the damage has thus been done. They do the shake things up game, which is the race where they have to like spit into each other's mouths, and I actually fast forwarded this much like everybody else did, so I'm not going to talk about it. The girls are talking after the game, and they said KK said that she's fighting her feelings for Keenan, trying to meet new people, but she's losing that battle. Carmen is saying that any boy has a lot to live up to with Kenzo because he's kind of tops for her, and so any boy is going to have to be super good in order to beat him. Back at the villa, Jonah is hitting it off with Taylor C. She's down for anything in terms of dating. She's very adventurous and outgoing, and he likes to sit and people watch, but they're both kind of goofy and they kind of get along, so sure. Allie deads it with Bergie, kind of like we all knew would happen. Keenan is talking to Naja, and they're trying to explore each other for clarity, and she doesn't want to waste her time if he's not open, because she's interested 100%, and he said, well, we're not closed off, even though he was going to close things off with KK before she left. He says he prioritized KK too much before, and now he owes it to himself to explore. When was he prioritizing KK? When did that happen? Did I miss it? Was I asleep? Was it during the Shake It Up game when they were spitting into each other's mouths? When did he respect KK? When did he prioritize her? I'm sorry? Did I miss something? I don't think so. Leo is talking to Johnny, and they are saying they're having such a good conversation. Leo's never had this much sparks before, and they end up sharing a bed. Kenzo and Marco end up sleeping outside. And back at Casa Amor, Mattia and Cassie are kissing, but she feels a little bit guilty, and she says, "No more kisses. We've done that. We're good. I'm gonna be respectful now, but we're still gonna get to know each other." Imani and Kyle share a bed, Destiny and Zay share a bed, and Carmen, Hannah, and KK sleep outside by themselves. Boys' beds, however, they're seeing a little more action. Keenan is getting some tug of war from Naja in bed, and it's pretty clear. And then also, Leo is on top of Johnny. What they doing? What are they getting up to, huh? So yeah, that was an eventful night for many people. The next morning, the boys are still treating Bergie like a slave and making breakfast for everybody because he has nothing better to do with his time. Poor Bergie. He should open his own restaurant, like Bergie's Burgers, and like has pancakes. The episode ends on a cliffhanger over at the boys at the villa when Marco, he gets a text that says he's going to be reunited with Hannah. And so he's getting excited, and little does he know that the producers don't mean the Hannah we know and love from the villa. it's his ex Hannah who is here to get him back. So we're gonna call her ex Hannah, and Hannah is the good Hannah that we like from the villa. Okay, so ex Hannah is coming, and she surprises Marco, and he's like, oh, that's not that's not the Hannah I wanted. So the discomfort is palpable. They have a breakfast. So it was months ago. She said that they have unfinished business. He said he wasn't able to commit at the time, but they didn't have a fair chance. And that is the end of the episode on this cliffhanger of Marco saying to ex-Hannah that they didn't have a fair chance. I don't see him moving for her because the look on his face was like, fuck. It did not look pleased, okay? I feel like if he were excited to see her, he'd be, oh! You know, it's a very different expression. That is it for episodes 20 and 21. What did you guys think of these 2 episodes? Let me know your comments down below. What do you think of the Casa girls, Casa boys, and the moves the OG Islanders are making? Making some moves. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.